The dread of boredom permeates every facet of human existence, a universal phenomenon that transcends time and culture. It is a sensation often met with disdain, perceived as a weakness or an indictment of one's inability to fully engage with life's opportunities. In an era dominated by the relentless march of technology and the endless array of distractions it offers, the idea of succumbing to boredom is met with even greater aversion. Yet, despite the plethora of activities and stimuli at our disposal, the specter of boredom looms large, casting a shadow over our lives. Throughout history, individuals have sought refuge from the oppressive grip of boredom through various means. Some turn to indulgence in vices such as alcohol, food, or reckless spending, seeking momentary reprieve from the monotony of existence. Others resort to conflict or risk-taking in a desperate bid to inject excitement into their lives and escape the clutches of ennui. Even in the writings of literary giants like Dostoevsky, the pervasive nature of boredom is starkly evident, with characters lamenting the futility of their existence and railing against the banality of everyday life. Ancient philosophers, such as Seneca, were acutely aware of the insidious nature of boredom, recognizing it as a fundamental aspect of the human condition. The concept of tedium vitae, or weariness of life, has persisted through the ages, serving as a poignant reminder of the inherent challenges of the human experience. Similarly, early Christian thinkers grappled with the notion of acedia, a spiritual malaise that saps one's motivation and leaves them feeling disconnected from the divine. Even the most privileged members of society, such as monarchs and aristocrats, were not immune to the existential angst brought about by boredom. Their lives of luxury and leisure often served only to exacerbate their sense of ennui, leaving them yearning for something more meaningful amidst the trappings of wealth and power. In literature and philosophy, boredom has been a recurring theme, explored by luminaries such as Kant, Rousseau, and Nietzsche. Writers like Flaubert, Mann, and Dostoevsky have masterfully captured the profound sense of emptiness that accompanies boredom, depicting characters who grapple with the inherent meaninglessness of their existence. Characters like Oblomov and Anna Karenina epitomize this search for meaning amidst the monotony of everyday life, their struggles serving as a poignant reminder of the human capacity for introspection and self-reflection. Byron's famous quip, "The only choice left us is either to experience boredom ourselves or to induce it in others," encapsulates the existential dilemma posed by boredom, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable truth of our own mortality and the fleeting nature of human existence. Nietzsche's proclamation of the death of God serves as a stark reminder of the nihilistic undercurrent that runs through modern society, signaling the collapse of traditional sources of meaning and the subsequent rise of existential angst. In a world where the certainties of the past have been shattered, individuals are left adrift in a sea of uncertainty, grappling with the fundamental question of existence in the absence of divine guidance. In conclusion, the phenomenon of boredom is as old as humanity itself, a constant companion in our journey through life. Despite our best efforts to escape its clutches, it remains an ever-present reminder of the fragility of the human condition and the inherent challenges of finding meaning in a world devoid of certainty. Indeed, after the Second Industrial Revolution and the First World War, a mundane nihilism settled among society. People were afraid to look up at the sky. They didn't know if they would live to see tomorrow. This feeling persisted even after the war. The automation of labor increased leisure time, and the world began to resemble an illustration of Schopenhauer's phrase, as every human life is a journey from pain to boredom and back again. People sought ways to fill the existential void and oscillated between work and pleasure. Nowadays, we have taken up residence in the realm of mass media. We observe the lives of celebrities, which only amplifies the sensation that our own lives are dull and meaningless. We consume ready-made entertainment, rendering us passive spectators. Now we are spectators, rebelling in the prison of Twitter. And this exacerbates the deficit of meaning in life. It's often said that if you're bored, find a job. But that merely masks the symptoms without curing the ailment. After all, some have plenty of time yet are still bored to death, while others have very little time but are equally bored. It seems boredom is not a problem of laziness but of meaning. People have filled and continue to fill their existence with work. Some find themselves in it, while others are still searching. But I advise against standing still and instead encourage trying something new. Class culture has also reflected the phenomenon of boredom. For instance, in Bret Easton Ellis's novel American Psycho, the protagonist, Patrick Bateman, a successful young man, often finds himself mistaken for others. He even refers to himself as a ghost, something unreal, something not quite tangible. In one chapter he narrates in the third person, emphasizing his outward identity. Nevertheless, he tries to find inner identity through transgression and fashion. He hides behind Prada, Ralph Lauren, Hugo Boss, Versace, Paul Smith. However, a dependence on fashion is a litmus test for the absence of personality. The entire book, as I've already mentioned, consists of fragments of his stream of consciousness. Even the writing style hints to us that a coherent person's narrative would be more cohesive. It's precisely boredom that causes him to lose himself. He himself claims that nothing can answer the question of who he is because there is no key to this enigma. However, boredom can also be a positive moment. So say the studies. When you suddenly become bored, the mind begins to wander. And those thoughts that were once in embryo flow into a finished idea. This moment of insight is called an epiphany. Philosopher Bertrand Russell also said, "The importance of boredom for human behavior, in my opinion, is underestimated. It receives much less attention than it deserves." I firmly believe that boredom is a powerful driving force in all times. But science advises not to confuse boredom with relaxation, such as yoga or meditation. It's better to choose an activity that requires little concentration. For example, walking, swimming, or sitting with closed eyes. Alone with ourselves, we think deeper and more independently. Most innovators preferred to remain alone more often. Descartes, Nietzsche, Shakespeare, Huxley, Riri Huxley Rodin, Tchaikovsky, almost all symphonies, paintings, plays, theories were created by their creators in solitude. Boredom is ambiguous. It can arise from an internal vacuum when you constantly seek solitary entertainment. As Bertrand Russell wrote, "The generation which cannot bear boredom is a generation of spiritual dwarfs." Boredom can be directed towards self-discovery. Nietzsche, for example, believed that those who construct defensive structures against boredom are actually building defenses against themselves. And Brodsky advised that when boredom overwhelms you, surrender to it. Let it crush you, immerse yourself, reach the bottom. The sooner you touch the bottom, the faster you will resurface. Against the backdrop of infinite time and boundless cosmos, our lives seem meaningless, insignificant, and yet, at the same time, staggering. It turns out that boredom is also an inevitable part of existence, and we must accept it as such. Brodsky continued to ponder. Boredom is the intrusion of time into your value system. It places your existence in perspective, the ultimate result of which is precision and humility. The former begets the latter. The more you learn about your own insignificance, the more humble and compassionate you become towards others like yourself. Whether it's a speck of dust swirling in a sunbeam or already lying motionless on your desk. Reflection is personal work, and everyone chooses how to heal from boredom without considering it an escape from it. There is no universal recipe, only to behold the multifaceted boredom in its beautiful silence and accept it as the gifts of hints from a wandering mind.